Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Sipercoach, NRL Sipercoach off the bench. You're with the Beast and Rossco. We're here for Teamless Tuesday, round 20. Now, I know a lot of you, you think Supercoach sucks and there's only about 7 rounds to go and you're going, oh, shit. Well, there's still a lot to play for. A, you got bragging rights. B, if you're like me, you've got a few cashies still alive and you really want to do as best as you can in those because that's critical. I need some money to get into my cashies for cricket. So there's still a lot to play for. And boy, aren't there some surprises this week. I think I've only heard a little bit of news. We're just going to open up the team lists and go through them for my first look in a sec. How are you going there, Ross?
Oh, mate, I'm doing okay. I'm just glad that last week's over and done with because that was a shit round for me. I only had 15 players and anything that could go wrong went wrong. I lost like 3,800 spots, dropped back a country mile and then get home from work to see some messages going, this person's out, and I'm just like, it just gets better and better. I think it's time to start planning for BBL, Brad. Well, but I'm with you. Look, I'm with you. I think I need to start focus on my cashies because I'm actually doing really well in my head-to-head cashies at the moment. So I think they're the ones that I need to start focusing on. I'm with you. You know, get a payout for some money and use that money towards some cashies in BBL. But shit, far out.
No, absolutely. Look, I love playing for the overall glory and trying to finish the best I can. But right now, it's just a matter of focusing on those cashies that I've still got going and enjoying it for what it is. And that's what Super is all about.
Yeah.
But
this has got to be like this has got to be like the worst year ever with injuries and stuff like that I can remember, Brad. I mean, you know, they talk about saving trades. I think it's been near impossible to save trades this year. Like, honestly, like most of the majority of the guys I've spoken to have probably got about 8 to 10 trades left, which is seems to be about par. Unless your name's David London, you've probably got about 3 left. But if you just can't save them. You know, and do you go hard and just smash out your trades and then who knows what's going to happen later on? The carnage just continues every single week. So, very interesting. I'm looking forward to getting into this, Brad. So while you're pulling up the team, I
was just going to say to anybody that's listening out there, do send us in a number of trades that you reckon either Big Dickus has got left or how many trades do you reckon Big Ted's got left? Who do you reckon's got the least amount? I reckon Teddy's.
I reckon Dickus. I'm going to say Dickus because Dickus has max traded just about every single week. So they could be the same for all we know. I don't know. So while you're pulling up the team list, Brad, we'll get stuck into it because I've got the teams here. So first game Thursday night, Dolphins and the Cowboys. Yep, beautiful. So we've got Dolphins and the Cowboys on Thursday night. So Hammer returns from Origin at fullback. Avrilo goes back to the wing. Nafaru drops out. And then Lemu's been promoted to the starting side. Finufaki's out with a broken thumb. Mark Nichols is out also with concussion protocols. Harrison, Graham, and Peter Holler on the bench. For the Cowboys, Jordan McLean will miss the match with a calf injury. McKaylee starts at prop. And Caden Lars comes onto the bench. And the other changes in the back line with Jackson Paulo coming into the side with glue hands or whatever you want to call him, Butterfingers, Robert Derby going to the reserves. Jake Clifford still out with a quad injury. John Bateman returns from a groin injury, has been put on hold for another week. So, I don't think there's really sort of too much to talk about here, is there, Brad? I mean, in regards to Supercoach options or anything like that, is there?
It depends upon how many trades you got. It's as simple as that. Scott Drinkwater is peaked in price, so you can sell him if you have and we'll go through. There is some juicy looking options coming up. You could trade Drinkwater if you wish. And the same goes for Rossco. Do you see Rossco as being a year-long keeper? If you've got some trades left, well, he's about made the cash and he's going to start going the other direction now. So, but that depends upon how many. They're the only two in there that you really you're not going to bring in any of these players.
Look, the only one that I could maybe make a bit of a case for, but I don't really like it, is Draymond Nanai as a possible replacement for Dylan Lucas. But other than that, I don't think there's much else there. But like you said, I wasn't planning on keeping Osako for the whole season, but just with the trades and everything going on at the moment, I don't think I've actually got a choice at the moment, to be honest with you. So I'm going to have to probably see the season out with him.
Yeah, it really is.
Yep.
So yeah, it's whether you got.
Look, if you got the trades, yeah, absolutely. I think it's for sure. So yeah. All right, next game, Friday night, the first of the Friday night games. This one should be a cracker. Got the Sharks at home to the Roosters. Sharks have named an unchanged side, although that does say that. Starting side, I should say. Daniel Atkinson comes onto the bench. Billy Burns reverting to 18th man. They did swap prior to the game last week. Sam Stonestreet has been named on the extended bench. He returned from New South Wales Cup last week, so there is a chance that if he's available, that Talakai probably the one that drops out for him, I'd imagine. For the Roosters, Savala's out with an injury. Unfortunately, they haven't recalled Sandon Smith, but they have recalled one Chad Townsend to replace Savala at 5'8". Sandon Smith has been named in amongst the extended bench. Lindsay Collins returns to the starting side and Spencer Lenu back to the bench. I guess that's a bit of a downer with all the conundrum we've got at the moment, Brad, that I think a lot of people are probably relying on Sandon Smith to come into that team. But obviously they've opted to go for Chad Townsend. But look, with Sandon Smith on the extended bench, who knows, they might make a late change.
They might, but most in the top 10% have sold Sandon Smith. So I'm not sure how many actually held on to him. He is a bit of a risk. I can't believe Chad's back. Mate.
I know. Sorry. Just with this game, there's a couple here that I don't mind this week as a trading option. After this week, the Sharks draw really opens up, and they've got a really good draw home. Ronnie, I know you don't want to speak about him too much, Brad. You've been an owner, but he's getting very dirt cheap. And the other one, obviously, is a great replacement for Dylan Lucas, is Britton Nakora, who's also still only sitting about 11% ownership. So he's the one that I'm potentially relying off to bring in this week. And obviously Angus Crichton's another one too, who's quite cheap at the moment too as well, if you are looking for a second row option. But really, other than that, I mean, there's not really much else to talk about here, really, I don't think. Is there anyone else? Blakey Brayley, if you're looking for a hooker, obviously, but I think most people probably would have had their hooker position, sorted out last week with Sandon Smith being out. Is there anyone else here, Brad, that you see as an option potentially, other than Nico maybe too, if you don't have Nico?
Well, I love Blake Brayley. He plays 80 minutes. He gives you 80 minutes worth of workaholic action. You can still jump on him now. He's still cheap enough. And my prediction is he'll end up finishing the season the number one hooker. He'll have the most amount of points. Probably won't have the biggest average, but I think he's going to top the point scoring for Supercoach. Doesn't get injured, 80 minutes every single bloody week. It's just amazing. You're right with Ronnie. Jesus, I'm very tempted. I think if I buy Ronnie again, this will be the third time I've had him this year.
Shit.
I love him. But I think they told him to pull his head in after about 4 weeks ago. He had one match where he was just going off everywhere.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like he got told to pull his head in and he all meekly went out there and we want him to get the angry Ronnie back again, and I'll definitely be having a look at him.
Yeah.
All
right. This is the interesting one. So you got Panthers against Rabbitohs is the next game. So for the Panthers, Nathan Cleary's been rested. Blaze Tangi will partner Brad Schneider in the halves. Isaiah Yo's been given a rest too. Dylan Edwards and Brian To'o back on deck. Liam Martin remains injured with a wrist injury. Isaac Targo has been suspended, so Paul Alamoni goes into the centres. Scott Sorensen returns from suspension in the second row. Edwards returns. We'll see Dane Laurie shift to the interchange. For South, Lewis Dodd's been called onto the bench. Jack Whiten again will link up with Jamie Humphries in the halves. Cody Walker gone for the season. Latrell's back from Origin. So Alex Johnson shifts back to the wing. Isaiah Tass in the centres. Campbell Graham's been ruled out with a back injury. Aiken returns in the back row. God, there's a stack of changes here. Brandon Smith's out. Havili will start at hooker with Mamalozdu on the bench. David Miley's out, and as is Graham, obviously, as well. And with Sean Kepi coming into the side. Oh, my God. That's a lot of changes there, Brad, for South. Penrith, I guess, is the main one we should speak about here. Absolute mint draw. I think currently, Cleary's obviously about the second most traded in at the moment, but I expect Dylan Edwards now to probably become one of the most traded in this week. I think Brian Totler's a great option this week too to trade in as well. You could probably wait a week. He has got quite a high break even of just over 100. But other than that, yeah, look, another one that I thought maybe was an option, but obviously not now, is IPAP too. He's playing lock, but obviously Isaiah Yeo will come back into that team next week, so he'll probably revert back to the bench. Who else is there, Brad? Is there anyone else that you like in this one, or are they pretty much the main trading targets for this game?
No, that's look, Dylan Edwards, like you said, he's about as cheap as you're going to get, and I certainly do like him for the run home, and I could easily keep him for the rest of the year. So not a problem there. It's a pity about Yo. He is one to get on as soon as we can. If you're wondering about that, go have a look at how Yo finished the season last year. Absolutely. What the year before that, after Origin, and he comes back and gets fit, he goes berserk towards the bottom end. He works his way into that end of the season beautifully. Tapine is another one. See, I wouldn't be selling Joey Tapine, whatever you want to call him at the moment. He's another end of season specialist that just grows into the back end of the season. Well, he always was. So if you still got him, but we'll get to that. On the south side, look, particularly the centres, that's just pus, Tell us, Duncan, I like him as a player, but in the centres, no. Tass, well, he's just a speed bump at times. There's nothing to like there in the back line except for Latrell. I did have somebody message me, go, "G'day, Shane, by the way." He messaged me about half an hour ago, the minute the team list came out, and he said, I'm going to get Latrell Mitchell this week. I don't know about that.
What do you think about that? Do you think obviously Dylan Edwards is probably going to be the main one that's going to be bought in this week, right? If you are looking for a fullback, but is there a world where you could bring Latrell in, or do you think that you've just probably got to go with Edwards?
Look, it's only going to be 1 or 2 weeks until South, or if they're not already out of the running for the final 8. Doesn't Latrell have enough motivation left in him for the end of the year to keep fronting up every single game? Do you have enough confidence that he's going to do that? I'm not sure if for my Supercoach team, because don't forget, whoever I'm bringing in now, I want them there for the entire season. They're all keepers. So do I have enough faith in what Latrell's going to bring? I just don't know. He can clock off. He can, no motivation. And that's a very ordinary looking back line. Is he going to get the ball?
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Dylan Edwards, obviously, too, as well, Brad. It'll be interesting to see if he gets the goal kicking or whether it'll be Alamoni. I know Edwards was kicking when Cleary was out previously, but Alamoni wasn't in the team then. So I'm really not sure who's going to kick in this one. It'll obviously be one of those two, but I just don't know which one. Obviously, if it's Edwards, it'd be an added bonus for those who do trade him in. But yeah, I really like him this week. I mean, especially when we roll a bit further along and we see why he's going to be so highly traded in this week.
A little tip for draft owners. There's 2 ones here for Penrith. Scott Sorensen, if he's on the waiver, go get him. He can go 2 ways. He can either go real high or real low. The one that will be very consistent this week, again, in draft, it'd be good, would be IPAP. IPAP in draft, if he's on the waiver wire. Back in the middle again, he'll score much better than he is when he does on an edge. So even
Luke Gardner as well, Brad, too. Yeah. Another one. Yeah.
All right. Next one.
All right. This game, Raiders versus the Eels. For the Raiders, Josh Papali and Hudson Young return from Origin. Papali'i started prop, Young in the back row, Horse shifts to lock. Morgan Smithies and Simasaki drop back to the bench. Noah Martin and Trey Mooney revert to the reserves. For the Eels, Josh Papali'i will start at 5'8". Rolly Smith has been named at hooker from his return from suspension, with Dylan Brown named as 18th man. An ankle injury to Katoga has prompted a shuffle, with Jack Williams shifting to the back row. Jermaine Hopgood will come into the starting side at prop, and Samarani comes on to the bench. Gee, wow. Now, we had this discussion on the pod the other night with Barnsey, Brad, on Sunday night. Now, Riles held his ground and said that they were not going to release Dylan Brown before June 30, and now look what's happened. They're not even playing him. I don't get it. Up till last week, they were probably still a slim chance of making the 8, but they're real and truly screwed now. I don't even know what to make of this, but I tell you what, I can't see anything but a Raiders big win here. I think they're going to be in for, this could be a high-scoring game. There's not really anything to like there at all about Parramatta, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't be the week to jump on Zach Lomax, folks, if you're thinking of it. Yeah. I might wait there a little bit. Look, this is a pretty awful-looking team. From Jason Riles has come out and said that he's looking to the future. It's all about the future for him going forward. Yeah. He's not interested in this season. He's already said that. But
and your mate starting in the back row. That back row is terrible. Geimer, Jack Williams. Jesus Christ.
I'm not sure what he's doing there. Jack Williams is just about close to one of the bargain props of the year. Yeah. Right? If you list out our Supercoach players and how some of the really good players that people have bought this year that have gone well, Jack Williams will feature very highly there. So why you would take him out of a position in which he's been excelling and has proven to be a revelation compared to what he was doing at Cronulla. He's looking very good at Parramatta, but he's had a complete change in role there. He's gone into the front row and he's been wonderful. And they're going to put him on an edge. And you're going to take the Hop God, who underneath the previous administration was nearly a must-get in Supercoach, no matter what he did. This guy was going to do you 60 tackles a game. He was just fantastic. And now under this coaching administration, he's nothing but pus.
I don't get it. I would have kept Jack Williams in as prop, and I would have probably put Dylan Walker on an edge over Jack Williams, and then had Hopgood starting at lock. That would have made probably more sense than anything else.
Yeah.
Anywho, moving on. A couple of ones that I really like this week. I'm already an out of Hudson Young, but if you are looking for an option again to trade Dylan Lucas too, and you don't have Hudson Young, get on him this week for sure. And the other one is obviously as well as KO Weeks. I mean, he's starting to get up in price, but he has got a nice juicy negative break even again this week. And I think he could do really well again this game. I would probably only look at bringing him in at 5'8", not fullback though.
Yeah, I had another super coach contact me a couple of days ago, and he said, who am I bringing in this week for 5'8"? KO Weeks or what was the other option he had?
It was Dearden, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, Dearden or KO Weeks.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, looking at that Parramatta
KO Weeks.
KO Weeks does look very
Weeks could have a field day here, to be honest with you. Interesting. Anyway. All right. What do we got next? Saturday Bulldogs versus the Dragons. For the Bulldogs, Lockie Galvin has been called into the starting side. We'll start at halfback. Matt Burton's at 5'8". Toby Sexton goes back to the extended bench. Stephen Crichton and Kurt Mann are back after sitting out last week, with Crichton replacing the injured Bronson Cherry in the centres. Rookie Jethro, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name, retains his place on the wing. Suka Fafita's been named in the reserves after coming back from concussion. And Tupanu has also been named on the extended bench as well. For the Dragons, Hamish Stewart and Luciano Leilua has been named despite picking up injuries last week. Leilua was starting the back row and Stewart off the bench. There were no changes to the side from last week. with Matt Feagai named on the extended bench after coming back in New South Wales Cup last week. I don't know about you, Brad, but there is really nobody that I'm interested in from this game, Supercoach-wise, whatsoever.
Well, I own Carraz, so I do hope he has a cracking game.
Yeah. I mean, as a trade-in, though, trade-in options, obviously, yeah.
No. I feel for Toby Sexton. He's got the Bulldogs this far this year and was doing
ridiculous
a fantastic job. And now I don't get
it.
I
don't get it. Like, they won last week. Sexton, I thought, had a reasonable game. And then they dropped Galvin out of the team completely. And now all of a sudden Sexton's been dropped and Galvin's starting. I don't get it. I know that Sexton's going, but I reckon they've made a massive mistake letting him go next season. He's the one who got them to where they are. He has had probably by far his best season in a long time. So I just can't believe that they're doing this. It just makes no sense to me.
I tell you what, if I was a scout in the English Super League, I'd be putting an offer to him because I reckon he'd tear it up over there. I think he'd go.
Well, he's already signed. He's already signed overseas. Yeah, Sexton's already gone. Yeah, he signed earlier this week. He's gone already. So
he's got this game that will suit. Hey, listen, there's two here just to let listeners know. Both Hamish Stewart and Luciano Leilua. I wouldn't mind betting at least one of those will drop out, if not both. Both of them are big injury concerns hanging on both of them. I'm very surprised to see them named, actually. So, but he does have a few little options there. Not a great deal, but there is a few. Yeah. I think it's down to when you have a look at the extended bench. Even there's not a lot of options actually. They're running out of forwards, the poor old Saints.
Yeah.
Ooh, the Battle of Brookvale down in Melbourne is our next game. The Storm versus Manly. Very big news here. Orion Pappenhausen is out again for yet another week, meaning Nick Meaney goes back to fullback. Kane Bradley retains his spot on one wing while Coates comes back in on the other wing, meaning Grant Anderson, which is one of Bellyache's current love childs. He doesn't look like missing any game time, but he'll come back into the team. I mean, not back in, but he'll move from the wing into the centre position. Also, here there's a few changes to the benches. Tua Kamika now goes back to the bench, and Nelson Asofa-Solomona. He also goes back into the interchange to allow the Trent Lorero to come back and start. I'll tell you what, Lorero could be an option, but we'll get to that one in a minute. Manly, exactly the same team as what won 2 weeks ago. So not a single change there. There is a slight change on the bench, I think, with Tommy Talau. That forward bench for Manly looks very, very weak. If you compare the bench of Manly to Melbourne, you go, holy shit, they're going to get dusted here on that. So, that's really all of it in a crux there, Ross. What do you think?
I think this whole calf tightness business, like, I think it's bigger than what they're anticipating it to be, Brad. I mean, they claimed originally it was only going to be a 1 week injury. I think it's going to be a lot longer, and I don't know how long. And this is what's frustrating as owners in Supercoach, because a lot of people had their opportunity to sell last week and we didn't because we had other fish to fry. I just think they're holding their cards to their chest, and they're just not giving us the true indication of how bad this injury to Pappenhausen is. I think he's a sell. And if you go, it's not only because he's out again this week, but the draw for the Storm is not great. I think he's probably going to most traded out to, as we said, to Dylan Edwards this week, who makes complete sense at his price and the draw that he's got. I don't hate Nick Meaney as an option. If you want to go the pod route, I don't mind Nick Meaney with a negative, I think, minus 34 BE. I do like him as well with the goal kicking too. Yeah, far out. It's just so frustrating, Brad. Like, it really is. You know, I hate it how they keep this information, and you know, I get it in a way, but it's very frustrating when you know, with a super coach player and they do this stuff. The only other one I wanted to mention, Brad, if you go back, was Liero. You spoke about him. I don't know. He did get a ton last week, but he did score a double. He won't be playing Newcastle, wherever it was last week, every week. But other than that, I think Tommy Turbo, Brad. Now, I know Manly's got a tough draw coming up. I'm pretty certain that they do. Is there a world at all where you could bring him in for Pappenhausen, or you just think you've just got to go? You just got to go to Edwards.
It depends upon how many trades you got and how much cash you got. I think there is a world where you could do it. Yes, he's cheap.
He's so cheap. I know.
Yeah.
I know he's cheap.
He's got back-to-back high scores. I think an 80 and a 77. So, oh yeah, cheap as chips. So yeah, there is a world where you could do it. I don't think it's going to slow his scoring ability down in Supercoach at all. Not when he's inside of Ruben Garrick, who finishes very nicely. So it's just like a try assist, which is what he picked up 2 weeks ago when they played. Mind you, that was South Sydney. But with a quality winger on your outside, that's always standing in the right position, you know, got good timing, which both of them have. So, he's not going to go badly for you, no. Going to be a tough match down this week. So I wouldn't mind betting he could lay off a week. It'll still be just as cheap next week, though.
I do like the matchup, though, for Turbo and Garrick up against Bradley and Howarth, though, Brad. I mean, we've seen before that backline for the Storm is very vulnerable and they do leak a lot of points. So I think Garrick can do really well in this game, and I also think Turbo can too. So if you do want that cheaper option, which if it means that you can upgrade a cheapie to another gun, I don't hate it at all. I think it's a great option, but I would have preferred it to have been at 4 Pines. But anyway, yeah. Harry Grant's also just quickly, Harry Grant's very cheap at the moment too, but I don't think I can trade him in. We spoke about him on the pod on Sunday night. He 51 last week with a try assist is not great at all.
No, his base is right down, and I think you guys did talk about that. And Barnesy went into depth with that, so thank you for that, Barnesy. But he was his base is right down. He's come right down to the pack, so it really doesn't matter. There's about 4 options you can get at hooker, and they're all doing about the same as each other. The only unknown, of course, is Connor Watson might be a little bit better than the rest of the pack, but yeah, we have to wait and see there. He's always good for a head injury or something like that, so that's all it'll take to bring him down a little bit. And Saab against Xavier Coates, the X Factor out wide.
The 2 tall ones against each other.
Mate, that's going to be a showdown to delight. That one. I'm not sure who's going to outleap each other there. Oh, now, Ross, here's your favourites. Your team. This is looking horrid.
All right, so Tigers against the Titans. So for the Tigers, Talon May will make his debut for the Tigers after scoring a hat-trick last week in New South Wales Cup. Adam Dewey shifts to lock. Alex Twell to prop, and Alex Seafarth has been named in the back row after Samuel Ofeinu picked up a knee injury last week. Fonolo Pole moves to the bench. For the Titans, Tino returns to the starting side. Jolliffe goes back to the bench. Sam Barrels has been cleared of concussion and will take his place at hooker. Now, Adam Dewey, Brad. I just want to speak about him quickly for those who are looking for a CTW or a 5/8 option. I like this move of moving him to lock. I think it's a great move, and I've been calling it for a while. I mean, obviously we can't put him in the halves because we've got Fainu and we've also got Luai there, but I actually like this move of putting Dewey into lock. So I'm interested to see how he's going to go, but I don't hate it. But this is going to be an absolute bludger of a game.
It could also be a very entertaining game. I'm not sure it's going to be a bludger. I'm going to watch it with a lot of interest. particularly the Dewey move. The problem with Dewey is he's not a natural centre, so he doesn't. I thought that he'd either have to go back out to a wing position or maybe more into the closer of the action. When he was playing 5/8 recently, it was noticeable that he really straightens the attack up, whereas Luai goes creeping around the field and then has a bit of a dance out wide, and which is very lateral movement. It doesn't straighten up that attack. You want the attack to be nice and straight for the Tigers.
Yeah.
And it then gives Fainu a bit of room to play his magic in the halfback. That's really what is a combination that could work. And look, he could play a very similar role to what, say, a Jakey Travojevic. There's a few other lock forwards around like that are like a second ball player there. So if he might be able to straighten it up a bit from that role. So that's what I'll be looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a great move. I think he'll do really well there. But look, I don't know. I mean, there's not really anything that I like from either of these two teams. Chris Randall's just been doing amazing things too. If you really, really, really want to go on the pod route and trade out Lucas, I don't hate Chris Randall. Bo Firma's another one as well with dual position, which could also be handy too. But I'm going to be honest with you, the way the Titans are playing at the moment, I don't think I'd go anywhere near any of their players at the moment either.
Well, yeah, Bo Fermor, Chris Randall. Bo Fermor has a few attractions. He's going to be very consistent for you. Chris Randall, I'm probably going to advise people not to do it because there are better options out there. And David Fafita lurking around on the sidelines. He has done this before where he hasn't played for most of the year, and in the last 5 or 6 games, right before a contract's due to be ripped up or rewritten or something, he comes back in and plays like he's the best second rower in the game. So, to me, that spells danger signs that Randall will probably be the one that will miss out if that sort of thing does start to happen. And you've got better options. That's probably more to the point.
Yeah. All right. Oh, boy. Last game of the rounds, Knights versus the Warriors. So Dane Gagai will captain the side from fullback. Fletcher Hunt will start in the centres. Dylan Lucas is out for the season with a foot injury. Brody Jones comes in on the edge to replace him. Tyson Gamble comes onto the bench. Tyson Frizzell's also been shifted to the bench with Phoenix Clausen named to start at lock. And Jalen Bradley starts at hooker. For the Warriors, just one change. Rocco Berry's out with a shoulder injury. Kate Keepwell returns from his rest last week and will start in the centres. There's some options we probably should discuss here, Brad. Obviously, a couple of them there. One's Tanner Boyd. I did like what I saw from him last week. I think he scored a 70 last week as well. The other one I reckon is really good too. If you are looking for that replacement for Dylan Lucas, is Jackson Ford starting to score really well, starting in the front row. I think he plugged out about a 70 last week, pretty much all in pure base as well. So I do like those two as options. RTS is another one that interests me as well, Brad. If you are looking for a centre wing option, I liked what I saw from him last week. And go and have a look at the Warriors draw because it is absolute mint for the run home. They've got a really, really good draw. Even Harris Tavita is another one who's starting to go really well too. We've met Metcalf out too. So I think there's a few options you could go with it with the Warriors. The only one that I would suggest not to go near is Tuapiki, just for the fact that I think CNK's back in about a week or two. I was lucky enough to pick him up in all my drafts last week, and he got me about 100 in that. So other than that, that's pretty much for me. What do you got, Brad?
Yeah, look, now Newcastle. I don't know in what sort of world you possibly think Phoenix Crosland is a better number 13 than Tyson Frizzell, a State of Origin player of length. I just don't. I don't get that. Now, has the coach been sacked up there yet?
No. No, they were talking about that it was going to be the end of the season.
Okay. Well, I'm also hearing that they're looking at the attacking coach taking over from him.
There was talk that Blake Green or something was going to take over as coach, but I think they're talking about doing it at the end of the season. And even if they do it then, because they only just extended his contract, it's actually going to cost them $2 million in payout to pay him out from his contract. So I don't get why they re-signed him. I think it was only earlier this year because he hasn't proven any results for them to extend his contract, other than the fact he won a premiership as an assistant coach all those years ago at another club. So I don't get it.
I don't get it. And I must admit, I don't get putting the attacking coach in as the new coach. I don't get that. Because if you have a look at the attack of the Knights this year, if that's what you're going to have on your resume, that's an attacking coach. Yeah, that's a bit confusing. And Ross had it right a minute ago. Get on board the Warriors choo-choo train. DWZ, dirt cheap if you don't have much money. Rocks and diamonds, I wouldn't possibly get him this week, but Roger the Dodger, very good one to get. Jackson Ford starting in the middle is always good in the middle. They start dick around with him on the edge, it's horrible. Halasima has been a revelation. Aaron Clark is good as well. All of these are really good options, particularly with Dylan Lucas out. You might be able to downgrade, or there's certainly enough options in this team for you to be able to jump on to solve your Dylan Lucas problem, and they'll be sticking with you for the year-long run home.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that's it, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that's it. Just don't. Those who are looking at Halasima, just don't do it, because once Rocco Berry comes back from his injury, no doubt Kate will go back to starting on that edge again. So he's probably going to be the one that's going to drop out.
Yeah.
But again, another one to look at for draft. I think there's quite a few options for the Warriors that you could potentially bring in for draft as well, if you can get hold of any of them, any of that back line or any of the back rowers. Jackson Ford even as well, Fisher Harris, any of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're 100% right there. And I forgot about that with Halasima, so take everything I said about him back.
It's okay. All good.
All right. Very lastly, are you looking at doing any trades, Ross?
Well, I had my trade set yesterday. I was bringing in Isaiah Yeo and Britton Nakora, but obviously that's not going to happen now that Isaiah Yeo's not playing. I'll probably stick to keeping Nikorima in the team. I like the Sharks run home. I like that ball, that line he runs outside outside Hines as well. And then I'll probably reverse my trade-in of Isaiah Yeo and probably end up selling Pappenhausen for Dylan Edwards, like most people are going to do. I just think it's a no-brainer if you ask me. I think, with this being a week-to-week injury thing at the moment, I'm just can't. I'm not going to hang on to Pappy any longer. He's just got to go. I think Edwards is probably the buy of the round, to be honest with you, if you ask me. And I think it'll be an added bonus, as I said, if he gets the goal kicking. But if he doesn't, then I'm not too fussed about that. But I'm happy to have him there. And I'm very happy as a Blaze owner with Cleary out this week too. So hopefully he'll score well again this week. But they're my trades for this week.
Yeah, well, that's I'll be doing the Edwards one. I would say that I'll probably jump on that bandwagon. So if that's what you need for your flex or a fullback option, jump on it. Number of people also will be looking at a second row option. We've gone through them. There's a plethora of second row options. Just have a look. You make sure you're picking from a team that's got a good run home. You don't want to have anybody that's got a bad run or too many buys sort of floating in inopportune times, like week one of your head-to-head finals and things like that. But there's a heap of them. It's the same with 5'8". A lot of people are still a bit jammed up there. 5'8", there's plenty from KO Weeks to Tanner Boyd to Chance Harris DeVita, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
There's a heap of them there. that you can choose from. So, yeah, get rid of Metcalf and go with any one of those. Just depends how much money and how many trades you've got, really.
Yeah, that's it.
Jaden Campbell was the other one, but do you want a player from down
Nah,
Titans,
no.
really is, yeah.
No.
Not going to go that good.
Blaze Talung, Blaze, as said, the other one for 582 is just said was Blaze Talung is another great option too, I think, as well, especially with their draw. So, yeah, I can't go near Campbell. I mean, he's very hit and miss, concussions, injuries, all that sort of stuff too, and I just don't trust Des, to be honest with you. So, yeah, I couldn't do it. But I think, like you said, Brad, there's a plethora of options there in the second row. I said Nicarima, Hudson Young, Elise Katoa, if you don't have him. The list goes on. There's a ton of players that you can bring in this week that have got great draws too. So Aaron Clark's another one with that Warriors draw too. So if you haven't got any of those guys, I think they should be your main four ones that you should be looking at for this week.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that's all for today. We'll catch you on the flip side. Sunday night, we'll be back earlier. Thank Christ.
Yes.
No 6 o'clock game. We've been dying for that all season long. So, yeah, we'll be back a bit earlier on Sunday night. Do watch the socials for what time we'll kick off. And we've got Chris who's coming in with a quick late question. He says, Dewey at lock, good or bad for his stocks?
Yeah, well, I think we have to,
We don't know. It's an unknown at the moment, Chris. Yeah, I couldn't sit here with any certainty and tell you because there's been no figures for him at lock or even playing in that sort of a position. So there's nothing to go on. We both, myself and Ross, actually like it, but that's just a gut feeling. There's nothing statistical to tell you, hey, he's going to go all right. It's a real weird one, that one, but it could be good. Who knows?
If you can hang off a week, Chris, and just have a look at him, mate, and see what happens, see how he goes. I mean, you got to remember he's playing lock. He's not going to probably play 80 minutes either, so that's the other thing you got to probably take into consideration too. Can't imagine he's going to play 80. So I know Chris was pretty keen on Harris Tavita. He was nearly going to bring him in last week, but it all depends. If you can hold off on your trades this week, then hold off on them. If you have to trade, then you just have to make a decision on what you're going to do.
All right, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do stay safe, stay warm because there's a bit of woolly weather around where I'm at.
Yes.
Freezing. We've had a few people. I've seen a few on numerous streaming services all popping their heads around. So thank you very much for tuning in. And we'll see you on Sunday night.
See you then.